Hi, and welcome to the SaVeg podcast. I'm Rose, and I'm a content creator going by the handle Cheap Lazy Vegan, and I also own a vegan cafe by the same name as the podcast, which is SaVeg Cafe.
And I'm Daniel, also a vegan, and one of your favorite guest stars on Cheap Lazy Vegan's YouTube channel.
We're two friends currently living in different countries, and we'll be giving our savage take on all things life, veganism, and the latest trending topics.
So basically, whatever comes to our minds, because we love to talk.
You are currently listening to the previous episode of this podcast, but if you would like to listen to this week's episode and get some exclusive content, go over to patreon.com/thesavagepodcast. All right, everybody.
Hi there.
Hi there.
Hi.
Welcome back to another episode of the SaVeg Podcast.
Hey, guys.
So we are back, guys, on this couch with the messy background. We apologize. At some point, we're going to figure out a better background, I think.
We're going to figure out a place to record.
We're just a bit lazy.
I know. Well, also, the place that we were thinking of doing is closed at the moment, so...
Oh, like in my building?
Yeah.
I know.
So with that's for future episodes potentially, or we could get some kind of like background thing behind us.
I feel like I need an office. Like I need a filming room. But I'd be living with a roommate.
This is the thing.
I need to leave. I'm just kidding. No, I like it here. I like having a roommate, but I sometimes do wish I had like a little room just dedicated to filming.
But I think once the space in your building opens up, then it's going to be a lot better. Because then you can rent those out as private out.
Yes,
you know
that
what I
is
mean?
true. That is true.
So anytime, and even for your like YouTube, you could do like videos down there and stuff.
Oh God, that's so awkward though.
I think you should do it. I think it'll be fun.
Yeah. Well, you want to help me?
Of course I will.
Oh, you'll be my
there.
assistant. I was thinking about this actually because the other day I was filming a recipe video, and usually it's fine when I just film the food.
Yeah.
But when I'm filming myself, sometimes I like to do like a cooking segment, right? So I'm like cooking, and then that's when it becomes very like difficult because I have to film myself plus the food.
Oh God.
So I'm like, and I was just thinking, I'm like, it'd be so nice to have someone help me.
I can help you.
Maybe you can help me.
Damn, maybe I can star in the video as well.
Okay. You just want to star in the video.
I'd be a huge ham, you know.
Oh God damn, you be a ham. Did we tell this story?
I don't think so. Actually, that's a good story to tell.
Back in junior high, when I was in junior high, I had a friend who was also a gay boy.
Rose is friends with a lot of gay men.
I know, like we are just attracted to each other. You know, gay people love me. I love gay people. It's a thing.
Well, I don't know about that, but
what do they call me? A
fag hag.
Anyways.
But that's only if you're only friends with gay guys.
Right.
And it's a mean term anyway, because who the hell cares? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. We're just, we just vibe, you know? Anyway, so I was like best friends with a gay guy. And I went to his birthday party, I remember. And they had like a karaoke thing going on.
Yeah.
Just slam it, Daniel, just slam it louder, will you?
Sorry.
Daniel was like, oh my God, before this we had dinner. And then Daniel was about to run the dishwasher.
I was.
And then I was like, Daniel, don't run the dishwasher. And he's like, why not? I was like, Daniel, what are we about to do right now?
Oh yeah, we're recording a podcast. I forgot. Okay, I'm sorry.
Anyways, what was I saying? Oh, so we were doing karaoke in my friend's place, and I'm just up there doing my thing,
yeah,
singing my karaoke. And then at this time as well, this was like in grade 8. I'm a bit insecure, thinking I'm fat and stuff. You know what I'm saying? And then my friend maybe sees me the next day, and then he goes, my dad was like. You know what my dad said about you? And I was like, oh God, what did your dad say? And he was like, oh, that Rose, she's a bit of a ham, isn't she? And I immediately was like,
you're like, oh my God.
Like, oh my God, did I get fat or something? And then he was like, he started laughing. He was like, oh no, I told him, I was like, she's not fat or anything. And then he was like, no, that's not what I mean. And apparently a ham, I don't know if you guys knew this.
I didn't know till you told me the story.
Yeah, I didn't know. Apparently it means like somebody that like wants attention or that somebody wants to be on stage and perform. I don't know why it's called a ham.
Yeah, that's weird. Because I remember when you told me this story, and that's the first thing that came to my mind as well. You're like, yeah, my friend's dad was like, whoa, Rose is such a ham. And I was thinking, oh my God, like that's like, calling someone a heifer or something.
What's a heifer?
Like a cow.
Like, really?
Yeah. Like if you say, oh, that person's a like I would never say that, but like that's an expression.
Right.
And I thought maybe a ham was like another expression for this.
I mean, that's what I thought. I was almost traumatized.
And I didn't know it was, that was the
kimchi udon.
The kimchi udon.
So I just cook for Daniel to make up for all the abuse that he has to endure. This is how I keep him, stringing along.
How she keeps me kind of here, Well, I haven't left yet.
Yeah, well, we
need to start a free Daniel movement or something.
Oh my God. Oh my God. You know what we did talk about? Britney Spears and her Instagram.
Oh my God.
So Daniel and I.
It's crazy.
We spent like a good, what was it? Like an hour or so just discussing
Britney Spears. Yeah.
And would you like to take
Yeah, I will. Basically, so I kind of noticed this because like I follow her on Instagram and stuff.
Me too.
And lately, like in the last, I don't know if it's like the last year or 2 years ish, she's been posting some like strange videos and pictures. And like, so for example, and people are so mean in the comment section. Like we don't know what's going on behind scenes, right? But it just seems out of place because you have to remember, especially like with these celebrities and stuff, obviously they have like publicists, PR people, all this stuff. So if they're kind of on their own doing this random stuff, like it begs the questions like, why is there like support team not intervening? So basically some of the stuff she's been posting is a lot of like, ones of her like with this white or red background with like this kind of almost like a crazy eyes, like looking in the camera with like yesterday's makeup on, looking really, really like haggard. And like,
and the camera is like kind of angled like in a weird way that she's like looking up like.
Yeah, like this. Kind of like, I can't really do it with this camera. It's like, I can't do it. But
anyway, some of the comments are like, Britney, if you need help, wear pink in your next video.
Yeah, it's so bad. But the thing is, it's like you see her and you're just like, it doesn't seem right.
Right.
You know what I mean? Even she does these like dancing videos as well. She's been doing these dancing videos and like, seems like she's having a good time. But then when you see her face, it's like, it looks almost like out of it.
Yeah, you're like, what's going on?
Yeah, like she'll look at the camera while she's like doing her dance and she's like this.
Oh God.
And it's like really, really super serious, really like, and a lot of people actually have been commenting on it and said, like again, if you need help, like, wear pink in your next video or something like this. Cause it just seems, I mean, after everything that Britney's gone through, it just seems a bit.
She's been through a lot.
Yeah.
She's been through a lot.
She's been through the ringer and I don't know. I'm just like, where's her team? Like, where's her support team?
Yeah, does she have a team?
Of course, she would have a team. Yeah, because she's still. I don't know if she's still doing.
Maybe it's since the quarantine. No, this has happened before.
It happened before the quarantine. Yeah. So like you would think because like she was doing the Vegas residency, she's doing like she is releasing like music. Well, she hasn't for a little while, but so she would have a team. You know what I mean?
Right.
And the thing is she is, yes, she's getting older. She's not 20 anymore, but she's still an attractive woman. And I just feel like the people that are around her are like. They're not helping her. You know what I mean?
They're not helping her at all.
Yeah, like
she does not have a good support team. If she has a team, goddamn, they need to be fired. Exactly. She needs to hire a new team.
Or even like, and then we actually got really like deep into this about celebrities and all this kind of stuff. Because also it's like, where are your friends? Do you know what I mean? Like, I would hope that if I started posting really crazy shit on Instagram where I'm like, I don't know, looking really out of it, or maybe like some, I don't know, really crazy stuff. I would hope that my friends would start coming and talking to me,
Do you think she has friends though?
But this is the sad thing.
Because she's been in the spotlight since she was a child, basically. And then she was extremely famous. So all she did was probably work during that time.
100%.
And then her friends were her team.
Yeah.
And then I'm sure a lot of them left as part of, being, she was obviously, the biggest star at one point.
Exactly. And I think there's something to be said, like, and like, I've never been in this situation, so maybe I can't really speak on this, but there's something to be said about like, if your friends are people that you're paying and you're hiring them, are they really your friends?
Exactly.
Because it's like, if you think about any job that you've had, like, don't get me wrong, you form friendships at work and stuff, but it creates like, very rarely are you like good friends with your boss. Like you might like your boss and you might go out for drinks sometimes with your boss or whatever, but you wouldn't treat your boss like exactly like a friend because of
your livelihood is dependent on.
Exactly. So that makes me wonder, like,
does that mean you can't be my filming assistant?
Oh, god damn, because my livelihood be dependent on you, Rose. God damn, this is why I need a job. But also I like doing it because it's kind of fun,
Yeah, it'll be fun.
It'd be a little different,
Mm-hmm. You'd be a freelancer. It'd be different.
Exactly. I'm not like a permanent member of the cheap, lazy vegan family,
Anyway, so Britney Spears. Let's keep talking about that.
Yeah. So then she also, along with these like really, kind of strange pictures where she does look a bit out of it. Like her eyes don't seem all there and her makeup's really pretty bad.
It's weird though, because it's like, it's not so obvious, right?
Yeah.
So she seems seemingly normal. So it's not like really weird. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like she is for sure high or anything
No,
like
no,
that.
exactly. Yeah,
it's just kind of like, it's a little bit weird the way she poses and the way the just random videos she'll post of her just standing there and looking at the camera.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, it's like,
well,
this isn't normal.
Exactly. Well, and like another one that she does is she'll walk back and forth from the camera. So she goes out of the camera's view and comes back in the same outfit and come back and forth for about 15 times and then changes to another outfit. But again, like, okay, like we have to remember that this is like a big celebrity that we're talking about. So it doesn't seem so out of it, but for somebody like that, it does.
Yeah.
Because again, they have, you know, their Instagram and PR, everything is really tightly managed. So
Clearly it's not.
well, no, I know, but
God damn. Maybe this is all part of a whole publicity scheme. You know?
Could be. I don't know.
Could be.
God damn.
Remember that there was a time when Joaquin Phoenix, he was looking all, you know, he had like a full grown beard.
Yeah.
And he would wear these like sunglasses and he was acting very strange. And he was saying that he wanted to become a rapper. And he was acting, and he went on like, you know, one of those late night talk shows. And he was just acting really weird. Like he would just go up there and then barely say anything. He's like, yeah, you know, anyway, and then that went viral, that like segment.
Yeah.
And then later on, it turns out he was doing a role for like, he was prepping for basically a movie. So he was playing that character in real life, just as like a publicity, like to kind of promote the
to build up the movie.
Yeah.
And people found out later.
People found out later.
Yeah,
so at that time they were like, oh my God, what's he on? Like, what's wrong with him?
Exactly.
Maybe.
It could be. I mean, we again, we're so far removed from what's going on there. Cause it's like, they say like, because like they say like so much stuff about Hollywood that we just don't know because we're not there. Like, for example, there's couples that like are together, but they maybe have broken up a long time ago, but for publicity reasons, they still
really
maybe show each other together for a little bit longer or whatever else.
Just because
like,
they're not ready to like,
maybe they're promoting a movie or do you know what I mean? Like these kind of things. So like there might be couples or things that, you know, or couples that aren't together, but really are.
Right.
Not that it's, I mean, to be fair, that all stuff is like, really, is that any of our business? But at the same time, there's so much stuff. I feel like the publicity, they like twist things and they're like, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Like Joaquin Phoenix doing like a promo and people jump on it and they're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
What's
it's
happening?
Like a big deal.
Yeah. Or like if somebody wears a ring, you know, sometimes they'll like secretly like put a ring on and just see if the PR and like the paparazzi pick up on it and they're like, oh my God.
Damn. But you know, like it's interesting because before social media, I feel like social media has made us see a side of a celebrity that we were not able to see before.
Yeah, definitely.
So we're seeing like, you know, them acting a bit strange or them saying stupid things. Whereas before you could only see them on your TV or magazine.
Exactly.
And it was probably edited and like if they said something stupid, they would take it out. But now, you know, celebrities are going live on, you know, Instagram and saying stupid shit.
This is true.
Like what is that? Vanessa Hudgens that was like,
the coronavirus, it's like not really.
It's like not really a big deal. Like some people are gonna die, but like,
you know, and it's like, okay, now we're in the middle of a global pandemic. Like really, come on.
Which brings us to our actual topic. See, I told you we would have no problem.
That's true. It comes around. It comes in roundabouts.
So well, first of all, shall we talk about what we are kind of planning on for this podcast?
So Rose and I were discussing. So we're thinking like we're really enjoying doing the podcast and stuff, but we wanted to get a little bit more. I don't know. We just felt like we were talking about a lot of great stuff, but it's kind of been a little bit all over the place, right? And so we were thinking to become like a little bit more kind of focused on one kind of topic. So we want to also hear what your guys' thoughts are on this as well. But we think we're going to focus more on doing like our SaVeg take on like current events.
Yes.
So
trending topics.
Exactly. So anything that's going on in maybe the social media world, because there's always drama and things going on there. Yeah. Also what's, you know, big news items that are going on as well, like in the news or, you know,
like the invisible enemy.
Yeah. Like the COVID, the COVID, the invisible enemy that be jumping out and killing a lot of people. Oh my God.
Honestly, I cannot.
But like things like that. So that's kind of like where we want to take the focus of the podcast. But it would be good to hear, like, I know especially for our listeners that have been with us since day one. This be episode like, I think 35 now. It's crazy.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Look at us.
I know, God damn.
God damn, we'd be popping them out. Okay. What? I don't know what that was.
Be popping them out. Okay, Rose.
Popping out the episodes.
Yeah. But like for those of you that have obviously been with us on this journey that we've gone on so far, like we're really, really thankful. And again, we would like really appreciate your guys' feedback and tell us, you know, what you think as well. And do you think, is this what you want to hear from us as well?
And honestly, I don't think it'll be that different because that's kind of what we were doing anyway. We just kind of looked at our past episodes and saw, you know, what we thought would be, you know, most appropriate based on what we've already done. And it seems that we are very interested in, you know, current events, current topics.
Exactly.
And of course we can sprinkle in some, you know, things where we can relate a lot of these current events to, you know, different stories.
Exactly. Like some of our episodes in the past, like, you know, dealing with insecurities or something like that. Like that's a particular episode where, you know, it wasn't exactly like with some of the other episodes that we recorded, but again, we could bring that in with like a current event that's happening about, you know, maybe body image or body shaming, that kind of stuff. So so that's kind of the direction that we were thinking we want to go. Yeah. So
that'd
be exciting.
I'd be excited.
It'll be fun.
I'm excited. I actually really like watching. So we're kind of basically becoming a bit of a commentary podcast.
Yeah.
And I actually really like watching like commentary or like news channels on YouTube. That's kind of like what I actually watch a lot of nowadays. What I watch changes a lot, but lately I've been into that kind of stuff. So
I also do like I also really enjoy, like some of my friends will send me stuff like really random like viral videos and things, and I just love them. Like some of them, they're just so priceless. So
what was the one that you recently sent me, Daniel?
So the one that I had, oh my God, this one's really good. And again, it ties into some of the stuff that we're going to be talking about. So a lot of this podcast, we're going to be talking about a little bit about Trump and Corona all this kind of stuff. But so one of my friends sent me this. I think it was from the 2016 Trump.
It must have been a few years ago, right? Yeah.
It was the first like Trump rally when he was like trying to rally to become president or whatever. And there was just like it was a comedian that was there, but he was actually being like polite and respectful, but he was just like basically asking people blunt questions and just to get their reaction and everything else. And obviously they would have picked the interviews that made people look the stupidest.
Yes,
you know, they probably did a lot.
For sure.
But like some of the interviews on this video that they were doing, it was just so ridiculous. Like one of my favorite ones that we were just talking about earlier.
Shall we do a reenactment?
Yes, we shall.
Do you want to be the lady?
I'll be the lady, yeah.
Okay. So, wait, what was the question?
Let me give you the lady.
I'll be the lady.
So, do you think that a president could ever be or should ever be a woman?
No, I don't think so at all.
Why not?
I think that a woman is not logical, and I think men are the only ones that be logical.
That's true. I mean, well, no, he didn't say that's true. He was like, he was just like, no, but then she said, she was like,
and then she said, and you know, if a woman was president, she'd be emotional as hell, and she'd be starting all kinds of wars.
But hang on a second, haven't all wars technically been started pretty much by men?
I guess that's true.
So you're basically voting against your own interests.
Yeah.
Honestly, it was like,
oh my God,
it was so priceless. And it was just like, there was just so many moments like that. Like there was another really good one. And basically they were asking this couple, and they were saying, actually it was this guy. And they were like, so he was like, there's been like some controversy that Barack Obama's not not from the US.
Basically, Trump started this like rumor. I think he started it. I'm not positive. But anyway, the right wing started a rumor back when Barack Obama was president. Yeah. And the rumor was that he was not born in the US.
Yeah.
So then he went on this huge thing about how like Barack Obama needs to like, you know, show his birth certificate. And later on he ended up showing it after like so much like controversy.
Yeah.
And then they say that there's like basically Barack did some kind of, after he showed made his birth certificate like public.
Yeah.
He did there was some kind of speech or some kind of like, you know, some kind of political thing where there was like a lot of celebrities. Trump was there, and Barack Obama was like making a speech, and he was like poking fun at Trump during this speech. He was like, oh, see, Trump is sitting there, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, you know, he was poking fun at a lot of people, but you know, Trump can't take any sort of jokes on him. And he was basically just like making fun of him, and Trump, I think, was absolutely humiliated. And I'm pretty sure at that point he was like, I'm gonna run for president. Pretty sure.
God damn.
I watched the Trump
I have to see this. I've never seen this.
Oh my God, he is absolutely just like the literal definition of a narcissist. Yeah. It's actually scary.
And the thing that pisses me off, okay, like I'm just digressing a little bit, but the thing that pisses me off about that man, many things, but like my like philosophy in life, and it doesn't always reign true, unfortunately, but I just feel like I want I want people to succeed that are nice people. You know what I mean? People that are,
Yeah.
and this is me in my little fantasy world, but it really irritates me when like, you know, people that are super like cutthroat, narcissistic, horrible people end up being super successful.
But I think that is the way the system is designed. Don't you think?
The capitalistic system. Oh, God damn.
You gotta be. I mean, think about most people that are rich and powerful. They probably didn't get there being nice.
That's
you know
true.
what
They
I mean?
got to cut some people out of the way, which is sad as hell.
And Trump is basically the child of. He basically. He did not earn his wealth.
No, he's from money.
Yeah, he likes to pretend that he did.
Yeah.
But there's so much evidence to suggest that he basically just inherited pretty much all his money.
Yeah.
And any business, like he's failed in so many business ventures that he, tried. So he likes to pretend that he's like earned it all.
And super successful. Yeah.
But he's not.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So this thing of the thing about the Barack Obama thing. So when they were at this particular rally, this came up again, the Barack Obama, if he was born in the US.
Right.
So basically, oh my God. So this guy was like talking to him and he was like, so basically he's like, you don't think that Barack Obama was born in the US? And the guy's like, nope, definitely not a US citizen. And then he said, okay, well, if he showed his birth certificate, would you believe that? No, it has, and then he's like, I would need to have some eyewitnesses or people that were there. And he's like, well, what about his mom? Well, no, she'd be biased. And then he's like, okay. And then he's like, but what about Donald Trump? Is he a citizen? He's like, oh yeah, for sure. He's like, well, what proof do you have? Well, he has he probably has his birth certificate and stuff. I was like, well, what about you said you couldn't use Barack Obama's? Oh no, well also, we'd need witnesses for Trump's birth as well. And he's like, well, what about his parents? Oh, definitely. And he was like, well, wouldn't they be biased? And he was like, no. And he's like,
oh my God.
He's like, I'm using the same logic against you right now. And it was like, oh my God.
How do you not? How?
I know.
How?
I know.
It's like, I mean, this is why you can't really like talk to these people.
I know. It's
you know what I mean?
It's so sorry.
Yeah. It's just crazy.
This is the thing. It's like you have to pick and choose your battles sometimes, I think.
Yeah.
And I think this is actually a really good like life lesson that I've learned as well. Like, because I'm passionate about a lot of things and, you can get into heated conversations with people. But I think you have to pick and choose your battles in a sense, like when you start talking to somebody like this, like that is in that headspace that like literally you can't even logic with them. Do you know what I mean? Like you can use the exact argument that they said against them.
And they won't get it.
And they don't get it. So at that point, because don't get me wrong, there's been many times in my life, I can't think of an exact example, but I'll be in an argument or a conversation with somebody where they'll actually have a really valid point. And I'll be like, oh, that's really interesting, But when you're having those like conversations where they spin the same argument or again, you use their logic against them and they're still kind of like,
they just don't get it.
Exactly. And so I think at that point you sometimes have to just be like, okay, I'm going to walk away from this. There's literally it's like talking to a brick wall. There's literally no point to continue that conversation, unfortunately, with those people in life.
Yeah.
And you are going to meet those people and laugh.
God damn.
It'd be
especially at a Trump rally.
Oh God, especially at a Trump. Another really good thing. Sorry, I keep talking about this Trump rally, but it's so golden. Honestly, he was talking to this one guy, and this guy was like, "Oh, I think that the media is doing an unfair representation, saying that there's no like other ethnicities that come to a Trump rally, that it's only white people, blah 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 blah." And then he gets the camera to pan, and he was like, "Can you point out somebody that's not white?" And he's like, "Oh, not right now, but there's someone's coming, And then
there was one black guy.
Yeah, and then this one black guy came out of nowhere, and the woman's like, "There," and he comes over, and I was like, "Oh," and he's like, "Trump sucks," and he's like, "Oh, so you're not even here supporting Trump." It was so golden, honestly.
Oh my God. Oh, well, that reminds me of, speaking of black supporters of Trump, have you heard that Kanye West is running for president?
Oh God. Oh my God. What else can go wrong with this world?
Right? It's like, what is 2020?
I know. It's just...
At this point, honestly though, because of what happened with Trump and how he won the presidency, I wouldn't put it past anyone now.
No, exactly.
I think anyone can win at this point.
And I think Kanye, because he has a lot of supporters of his music,
absolutely,
he could potentially get there. You know what I mean? Which is a scary thing because,
oh my God,
again,
can you imagine?
And the thing is, I used to really like Kanye back in the day.
Oh, he is so out of it.
Yeah. I used to actually, before I got to know more about his personality and stuff, because back in the day, you didn't know
He's also a narcissist.
Exactly. And I remember when his music and stuff.
Sorry, guys, if anyone's a Kanye fan.
Yeah, we do apologize. I mean,
you can like his music.
Exactly. Some of his music is good. And I remember in the past, I really liked him. And then, yeah, the more I got to know and the more stories that came out about him, I was just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Who is this person? Like, I remember there's one interview where he's just basically like, I'm God. And I was like,
oh yeah, he keeps saying that he's like a genius or God. And I'm like, you are just delusional.
I know.
That is what you are, my friend.
Oh God. He's like
God.
he's honestly, these people are in a league of their own.
Little world. And like, it's funny because he used to be, I think it's like people become rich and become famous, and some people are, level-headed enough to kind of, still kind of stay grounded. But some people, it just goes way over their head.
This actually is exactly, remember how we were talking about like child celebrities the other day?
Oh, goddamn.
So this is another point that we were talking about, which just feeds right into this whole Kanye, probably Trump as well, is like, and why a lot of like child stars, I feel like have a lot of like problems, and celebrities in general, is because when you get surrounded by people that are you're paying them, so they're not your employees, they're not your friends. So there's no one there that's really there to kind of in your corner, and they're not going to challenge you because they depend on you for their paycheck.
Right.
And another thing though, and because of that, you'll also get surrounded by a lot of people that I call the yes people. You know what I mean?
A yes man.
A yes man. So literally these celebrities, unfortunately, just the way of their work and who they're surrounding themselves with, I guess, is they get so many people that won't challenge them on things, will say yes to everything, and like, oh, like someone might say, oh, how was that song, or how was this, and oh, it's amazing, you're amazing, blah 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 blah, because they want to keep their job. You know what I mean? They're not going to challenge that person,
right.
And I think that you're right. Some people can still manage that and be level-headed, right? But then there's a large majority of people, when they get put in those situations, like Kanye, like probably Trump, and a lot of other people, where it goes to their head.
Yeah.
And they become these egotistical monsters where they think, I literally can do no wrong. And it's like, well, actually, you've done a ton of wrong, but nobody said anything to you about it, really, because half the people that are around you get paid by you. So they're never going to challenge you.
Oh God.
It'd be crazy. It'd be crazy. I'm going to get killed.
And then if you make friends with, this is like the curse of being famous, right?
Yeah.
If you make friends with new people, like I would always question the friendship.
100%.
I just wouldn't be able to trust people because I'm like, are people friends with me because they want to be friends with me, or are they friends with me because I'm this like, celebrity figure?
Exactly.
That they, they don't see me as like a normal person.
Exactly. And like to a lesser extent as well is like, I'm not saying that you're like super famous or whatever, but you've also kind of experienced some elements of that through your YouTube as well, where you've had people that have kind of been like,
buddy with me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Where they're like buddy, and then they're like, oh, let's do a collab. Let's do XYZ, and then you're like, well, hang on a second.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, so it's amazing to see that happen to you, and then think about also like these celebrities
and
where
I'm
it's
not
like,
even anything. I'm just like a little,
little YouTuber.
Little YouTuber.
So that just shows you how like,
and like, I mean, I think it's fine to, of course, collabing is like a business, deal, right?
Of course, yeah.
So it's totally fine if people are,
reach out to you and are like,
reaching out and wanting to collab, and they don't have to be friends with me to collab.
Of course, yeah.
But I think there are some people that would try to befriend you.
Yeah, of course.
So they'll do it in a way that's not like
genuine.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because this is the thing. I think you just need to be honest and true to like yourself and your brand and everything else. And like, if I was another YouTuber and I wanted to collaborate with you, and I met you once somewhere or whatever else, I'm not going to like lean on that particular thing. I'm just going to approach you as like a business and say, hey, do you want to do a collaboration with me? Not like, hey, you're my friend, blah 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 blah, and then later be like, let's do a collab. Like it just becomes a lot more shady.
Yeah, I'm like, we're not really friends.
Exactly.
We met like maybe once, twice. We're not really friends. So,
exactly.
So if you want to do a collab, we can talk about doing a collab.
Exactly. Let's talk about it in this in a professional context.
Acting like we're like friends when we've literally barely spoken to each other.
Exactly.
Bit weird. So yeah, if I was a celebrity, I think that would be.
Then I think that's what's so hard is like because and I think a lot of us, we probably all felt this as well during like the coronavirus and stuff. The importance of those genuine connections that you have with people. So people that are like your friends, like for me, it's like when I was in Spain, I was like living for like my Skype calls, like with you or with other friends, where I was like, these are my good friends that I can like talk to about anything. And, and if you think about like a lot of these celebrities, I'm not, again, some of them have friends, they do, but,
yeah, of course.
But again, it's a lot harder in that space. And imagine you're in a circumstance like that where you don't really have that many people that you can lean on, it's really sad.
It is really sad.
So that's why I think a lot of them, they do slip into like depression and drug use and narcissism and a lot of like what are they called? Like
mental problems,
sociopathic problems.
Like
not sociopath.
So not sociopath, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's like they kind of slip into that. So yeah, I don't know. It can be challenging as hell. But speaking of our number one narcissist,
Donald Trump.
Oh God.
Well, it seems that based on what I'm following, it seems that his numbers are actually really bad right now.
Oh, okay.
So it's not looking good for Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Based on, because just the response to COVID has been so disastrous.
It's been horrible.
And I mean, it's basically, when we were talking about COVID quite a bit, we kind of stopped doing that because obviously it kind of became like just part of everyday life almost.
Exactly. No, it definitely had.
But in the beginning, it was like, oh my God, what's this thing?
Exactly what's happening.
And, we were starting to talk about some of the, things that were coming out with people not wanting to, social distance or not wanting to wear a mask or all that stuff.
Yeah.
And now we are seeing the literal repercussions of all of these states, especially the ones that reopened when everyone was telling them not to.
Exactly.
And then they had again, they're having record numbers of cases, and it's actually terrifying.
It's scary. It's so scary, especially because obviously we're in Canada, so we're just above the border, right? And for those of you that don't know, obviously Canada is a huge
it's the number one trading partner
of the US. So we do tons of business with them. We're super, super heavily reliant on them. And as such, there's lots of people and goods that move up and down our borders across all of Canada. And the issue is, and I saw a really good meme about this. So there was a little bit of controversy that's actually happened recently when they were talking about, because basically from my understanding, 'cause I haven't followed it the whole way through, but from my understanding is when the coronavirus was happening, they decided to close the US-Canada border.
Yes.
So that happened, I think, back in April.
So that happened pretty fast after, I think maybe in March.
Yeah, March.
So I remember after Canada kind of went into the shutdown a little bit.
Yeah.
They didn't close the borders immediately.
Yeah.
But then pretty soon after, they closed.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you want, just gonna.
Oh, don't worry. Yeah. So basically, and that kept getting extended every single time. And I think it was coming up to this last week, it was coming up to another not another extension. It was going to be the end of the closed border.
Right.
And there was a lot of controversy and a lot of stuff was going on Twitter, and people put this, there was a really good picture that showed kind of it was a heat map sort of, where it showed the cases in the States and the cases in Canada. And it was terrifying. The map
was bright red in the US.
Pretty much every single part of the States was just this red mass of dots. And then in Canada, we have our clusters in the big cities and stuff, but outside of that, there's not as much going on.
And to be fair, we do have a much smaller population.
That's true.
We've got about 10, maybe about 10%, maybe a little over 10% of the population.
But yeah.
But still.
Yeah, but I think they were saying too, and I'll have to double check this, but I remember them saying something along the lines of per a million people. If you look at per a million people, our population is we're 10 or 11% of what the state's population is. So so much smaller. And I think it was per a million people though, the States has way double the amount of cases that we have. And actually the deaths per million people was also double what we have, I think. Something like that. Don't quote me exactly on those numbers. Just know that it was definitely higher.
Bad.
Yeah. So
and I'm not saying Canada handled it all that well either, but oh my God, compared to what happened in the US, my God.
But also what is continuing to happen. That's a scary thing.
It's the thing. It's now at this point,
Sorry, there was a hair on that.
Now at this point, the thing is when the some of the, not all the countries, but many of the countries that were affected by COVID, put in some pretty serious measures and, somewhat fixed the situation. It's not completely fixed. It's still a pandemic, but, a lot of things were put in place. But then because in the US, for some reason, because everything becomes political.
Yeah.
So we had one side being okay, no, wear masks, be safe, blah, blah, blah. And the other side thinking this was all a hoax or conspiracy. And once again, we can't even blame them because of the extreme lack of organization and leadership from the government.
Yeah, this is true. And I remember in the beginning of the pandemic as well, if you have your president of your country being this isn't such a big deal.
Oh my God.
In the beginning. And even now it doesn't seem like he's taking it that seriously.
He is so delusional. He's like, oh yeah, we're doing great.
Yeah. Well, I saw this. This is another thing. So speaking of oh God. So again, about the US numbers. So Trump was saying this thing and he was Because he had yeah, I can't do his voice.
We're doing a tremendous job.
Yeah. He's so funny. Because they were asking about his because I guess there's some controversy with him and this guy that's on his team, like Dr. Fauci. There was like
the main guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Dr. Fauci is the head of the CDC.
Yeah.
I think he's basically part of the Center of Disease Control. So he's the one that's been coming out in the public from the kind of beginning, kind of, directing people, giving people advice. And then Trump would come on after him and basically like say
it's
complete
fine.
opposite.
Yeah.
So Fauci has been kind of like in the media, and it's just like, this is why people are confused.
Of course, you would
Fauci
be.
is saying one thing, and then Trump comes out and says, no, we don't have to worry. Blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. Anyway, so there's drama with Fauci.
Yeah, there's
always drama.
Yeah, so there's like a little bit of drama where there was people were like, "Oh, you're not getting along" or whatever, and then he came on. He's like, "No, like, we might not agree on everything, but I think that Fauci, he's doing good stuff, but we don't always agree." And he's like, "You know what I did as a president? I closed the borders to China in January, way before anyone thought this saved tens of thousands of lives. And then you know what? In March, April, I closed the borders to Europe way before anyone wanted to, and saved thousands of lives." And I was just like,
is he so like, does he think people don't remember what actually happened?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. Like, he's like,
God, he's absolutely insane.
And now I was like, saw this thing where he's like, basically there's been a little bit of a push to open up some of the states, obviously obviously like a lot of countries are suffering economically right now because these measures have been put in, and obviously this is going to impact a lot of like controversy, because obviously like the countries are struggling economically, and Trump is like pushing a little bit to have obviously the states open, because part of his political platform is like economic success of the country, right?
Absolutely.
So I think he's thinking in his mind, like he wants more and more of these things to open up. But
it's like, it's so delusional, because it's like, what are you going to do when everyone gets sick? Like, I don't understand. Basically, I think what he's doing is trying to get the stock market to look good.
Yeah.
And because that
and unemployment.
Right. So he wants to fix unemployment.
Because those are the main things. Like, I know whenever they do the U.S. election, they always talk about unemployment. Like, that's like a big selling factor for like whoever's going to be president. Like, oh, I've improved the unemployment numbers, X, Y, Z, blah, 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 blah. Like, it's always a huge thing.
Right.
So, recently, I think I mentioned this to you as well. Like, this is the perfect example, right? So I was reading again about Florida.
Yeah.
So,
oh God, right.
Yeah. Originally, it was New York that was like having these like crazy numbers, everything else. And New York kind of like shut stuff down because it was like, we have to.
Full on shut down. Well, they absolutely had to.
Because it was getting out of control there. Like they were getting 10, 20,000 cases a day or something ridiculous.
And now they're getting, I think there's like 0 deaths or something.
It's gotten under control there in New York for now.
Everyone's wearing masks. They're being, responsible.
People are taking it seriously.
Yeah.
And then Florida, for a while, it was okay. Like they weren't getting that many cases, I don't think. And then in the last little while, I think they've opened up more, the beaches, things like this. And the cases have gone like crazy.
Florida was never paying attention to this. And like whoever is the, what is it called? Governor or whatever.
I think it's the governor.
Or the mayor or whatever it is of Florida.
Mayor's a city, I think.
Yeah. So the governor is just incompetent.
Yeah.
It seems.
It's crazy. And then like this weekend there was a quote or like something where it's like on Saturday I think Florida broke the record for the most number of cases in the US, and it was like 15,000 in one day. And at the same time they're doing like a phased reopen, but Disney's reopening the Disney parks in Florida.
Oh my God.
And I'm just like,
oh my God, I can't.
Because especially like, and the way that I look at this, and I don't know like what your thoughts are, but like, for example, something like Disney, I get it. Okay, this is some people's livelihoods and they have jobs there. But like, if you look at like, it's not really an essential service. It's not something that you need to be doing. Like, I'm sorry, we are in the middle of a pandemic. Like, I don't know. It just, especially if you're in an area where you're getting so many new cases a day, and now you're going to open up a massive theme park.
It's just,
I know.
I'm literally at a loss for words that they are even thinking about reopening Disney.
I know. It's crazy. There's like it's honestly been blowing up on Twitter and everything. People getting crazy about it.
What are they even going to do? Are they even going to be careful about, I mean, the thing is, it's outside, so they might have a little bit of hope. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it seems that, based on what I've seen, it seems that the indoor areas are where you have to be the most careful.
Yeah.
But again, if you're going on rides,
touching
there's
things,
people everywhere. How are you going to keep control of that?
It's going to be really, really hard, especially when or not what we know, but what we've seen is a real resistance in a lot of people in the U.S. to wear masks.
No one wants to wear masks?
Exactly.
Not no one.
No.
There's a lot of people that don't want to wear masks and think that this is some kind of
hoax.
hoax or the government's like trying to control them.
Yeah.
It's a mask. It's a piece of cloth on your face. Okay. It's really not. It's just to protect you.
I quite like wearing the mask, to be honest.
Really?
I don't like it, but I like,
Why do you like wearing the mask?
I like in some ways, like if I just get up and I need to run to the grocery store or something and I'm looking like shit.
Oh, yes, you can cover the face.
I cover my face. I have my mask on, my sunglasses. Nobody even knows who I am. Yeah. I just run out there. I'm like, I don't care.
It's definitely helpful because I don't wear makeup now when I wear when I go to work at the cafe and stuff. Yeah. I just don't wear makeup. I just get up, wash my face, put on a mask.
When you were working before, were you making yourself all beautiful for the customers?
Well, I would sometimes put in some makeup, maybe about twice a week.
For them vegan men that become visiting yous.
Oh goddamn! Let's not go there.
Oh goddamn. But yeah, it's just.
Why did it become? Speaking of Florida, Florida seems like a very interesting place.
It does.
Full of a lot of interesting people.
Should we go?
Oh goddamn! Well, I've been to Florida. I've been to Disney World. Yes, I have. I've been to Disney World. In Orlando, Florida. Yes. Well, I was watching. There was another thing that went viral. And it was like some kind of press conference or some kind of meeting, some kind of hearing, whatever these things are called. They had a bunch of people. I don't know who these were. They were just probably like people of the public or something.
Yeah.
And it was like anti-mask people. So these women would go up on the mic and there's like maybe congressmen or I don't know, people in control or something.
Yeah.
And they were just like watching them speak. And these women would come up and one of them was like, "You people, you deserve to go to jail because you cannot mandate wearing a mask that is killing people. Masks are killing people." And I'm like, what? Do you understand that masks are designed to like not kill people?
Exactly.
And she was like, "This is citizen's arrest. You are going to be arrested because," oh my gosh, it was out of control.
I want to see this.
I felt kind of bad because I'm like, I feel like she has some kind of mental problem.
Yeah.
Like there's no way this is like normal.
Well, I mean, if you've seen the Trump rallies, I mean, I just feel like sometimes, and this sounds really bad. I'm coming across a bit negative, but there are people out there where, again, logically, there's just no point of even going there with them because they just don't understand.
But it's like that is an education issue.
Yeah.
So that's an education issue and a mental health issue.
Oh God.
I think they need some major...
And a public safety issue.
Yes.
These people aren't wearing masks.
Oh
God
my God,
damn.
seriously, I can't. The amount of videos and like, things I've seen about people just complaining about wearing a mask. It's like, dude.
Yeah. It's not and the thing is like a lot of places, like the way that I've approached it, like, which I feel, and this is kind of like, I got this from Spain anyway, like how they were kind of doing things is like when I'm going into enclosed spaces, I'm always wearing my mask. So like when I caught the bus to come here, I wear a mask. Or if I go to the grocery store, I wear a mask. Anytime I'm inside.
Yeah.
But if I'm just out walking to the park, I'm not going to wear a mask necessarily, unless it's a really busy park, then I might put it on. But I think like, if you're only using it for when you have to go into places that are confined, it's not such a big deal.
I know. I don't know why it's such a big deal. I actually just don't get it. Like they're just trying to make a point because it became political. Almost, right?
But so I don't get why it became so political.
I don't know.
Like
I actually don't. I think. Well, okay. Here's my theory. Because I think a lot of America is like built on the idea of. I think we talked about this, like individualism.
Yeah. And
freedom, right? So that's like a big thing that they scream about. And I think that. Especially in the right wing circles, okay, they are really heavy on this like individual freedom and not collectivism. So they're like kind of anti the idea of collectivism and working together as like a country or a community. Yeah. And I think if you're a little bit more left leaning, you would be a little bit more collectivist thinking. At least that's how I am, right? So that's why I'm like that's why they don't like socialism, for example. That's why they don't like the idea of like the government kind of intervening a little bit. So it's the government intervention, which they don't like. It's the being told what to do,
mandates
they don't like,
or whatever.
And it's also the idea of like individual. They feel like they're getting their individualism taken away.
Their rights violated, basically.
Even though it's not.
I know.
It's like wearing a seatbelt.
Oh God.
Why?
We do this, like, I mean, a lot, again, it would be different if this legislation or these things that the government was putting into place was so crazy. You know what I mean? Like seatbelt is a perfect example. Wear your seatbelt in the car. There's a bylaw now or a government thing, like you can get fined if you're not wearing a seatbelt in the car. Yeah. That's not for fun. That's just because it's been proven that if you wear a seatbelt in a car, it severely mitigates your chance of having some more severe injuries in a car accident.
Yeah.
So like, they're literally putting laws into place to protect people.
Yeah.
So I would understand if it was like the mask was like, or I don't know what I'm trying to say, but if it was something really extreme that the government was asking us to do.
But I think they think that it's a slippery slope. So
Okay.
I'm trying to play devil's. I'm trying to get into their headspace.
Yeah.
Right. So they're thinking, oh, so first it's going to be a mask.
Yeah.
And then it's going to be, and this was also during like when it was lockdown, right?
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, they're not letting us go to work.
Yeah.
And then they're going to control everything about us.
Then they're going to implant us with chips.
They're going to get all the 5G towers all over the place.
Oh, God. I can't.
Oh, my God.
This be a situation. It'd be a global situation. But I just think like this isn't a lot of these things just there are for our own protection. Do you know what I mean? And this sounds really bad. I saw a meme.
I think did you tell me? Or
I think I sent it to you.
Did you send it to me?
It was a meme that was like about,
oh God.
I'm going to probably say it not exactly correct. And again, apologies. I know that like a lot of our listeners are from the US, but like they're more like, we're talking not, obviously not all Americans.
Okay, there's extremes
in
America. So
exactly.
we're talking about the extreme.
The extremists there.
Yes.
So the meme was like, it was like, what did it say?
I think I know.
It was like
the first mistake was telling people that masks protect others.
No, the first mistake was telling the US that the mask protects others.
Yes.
# know your audience. I was like, oh my God.
I mean, kind of true.
It was bad. Like,
this is what I'm saying about the collectivist versus individualist mindset, right?
Yeah.
So, this is what needs to change, I feel like, in countries like US, for example, and even now Brazil. Brazil's becoming an extreme example as well.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got did you hear the Brazilian president got COVID as well?
Oh no, I didn't hear that.
So this guy is like, I swear he's worse than Trump, which believe it or not.
Whoa.
I think he idolizes Trump in his own way. And he's like very extreme right. And he was basically like, so what? People are going to die. What do you want me to do about it? When like COVID happened.
Oh my
And he was basically brushing it under the rug and then he got COVID. I mean, I don't know how serious he is. I mean, he probably has like 1 million doctors, by his side.
Of course, yeah.
He's probably getting the best care possible.
Of course.
So he's probably going to be fine.
Which the people in like the favelas or whatever they're called are not going to get that.
Brazil,
do you know what I mean?
The cases in Brazil are also crazy.
Yeah, it's the second, I think. It's like skyrocketing
Something crazy.
up there.
Yeah, it's insane.
And it's like, yeah.
And it's like, it's that kind of like... the mindset of like, oh, poor people, you're just on your own kind of thing, right?
And it's scary because the thing that makes me reflect on this, so you know how we talked about this in another episode as well about that that Korean doctor the Korean
the one that knows about these infectious diseases.
Disease specialist, basically. And one of the things that he said that really resonated with me, which makes me scared about everything that's going on right now. Again, I don't want to like fear monger too much, but the fact that he said like these kind of these corona type viruses, the ones that are transmitted from animals, are going to become, what he's predicting and what we're seeing is it's becoming more and more frequent. Like it's happening more and more, but there's less gaps between when these diseases are happening. And the thing that scares me about that is we've seen how this particular coronavirus has like ripped through the world. Some countries have done okay and better than others in kind of controlling it. But then you see these prime examples of some countries that have really, really struggled to get things under control.
Yeah.
And it does kind of scare me for, once we get a vaccine, okay, we've conquered this particular coronavirus, but there's going to be more, right?
Yeah.
So it makes me concerned as to like, you would hope that this would be a learning experience for countries to improve, to get better. But from the approach that I'm seeing from some countries, I'm like, don't even think they're using this as a learning experience at all. They're just kind of like doing whatever and
then the next one comes and then it's going to be all over again, the same thing.
Exactly. And like I don't know about you, but like I don't want this to become the new norm.
No, I don't want it either. Even just like, now we have, our bars and stuff are opened and there are safety measures in place. Like for example, you every other table is empty, for example, so they do space people out.
Yeah.
But it's still a bit strange, right? So you're seeing, you have to, all the servers obviously have to wear a mask, and just seeing so many people wearing masks.
Yeah.
I mean, like no one's enjoying this. It's not like we're like, well, I mean, maybe you're enjoying.
I'm enjoying the anonymity of going out to the grocery store.
That part is nice, but like, it's not comfortable. Like, and I don't like, not being able to, smile and they know that you're smiling, because it's like, that's awkward. I'm like, I need to learn how to smile with my eyes. Tyra Banks.
Smizing.
A smizing, is that what it is?
I can't do it.
The Tyra Banks thing, right? When she smiles with her eyes. I can't do it.
It is called I'm pretty sure it's called smizing.
I just look like I'd be squinting. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
And anyway, what was I saying?
You were talking about how nobody's liking this.
Yeah, so it's not enjoyable, and I don't like this new norm thing. But like, if we can get it under control and get a vaccine and, you know, kind of maybe be a little bit more responsible as human beings, which I don't think we're going to be. But I don't know.
But even I'm hoping, like, even after this is like, even the, like, some of the measures with like sanitation and stuff, like we could keep doing that. Do you know what I mean? Because that's actually just like a good practice. You know what I mean? Like maybe more businesses start having like little hand sanitizer bottles, just like, so it doesn't have to be as stringent as it is now, but even just having that in place, and like the masks, you know, hopefully those will be a thing of the past. Well, I mean, we might need to use them again in another pandemic.
Well, I think the mask thing would be good, as for example in Asia, when people they do use masks regularly. Yeah, true. I think partially it's because it's very polluted. So that's one thing. Yeah. But I think also when people are sick themselves, they will wear a mask so that they don't get others sick.
See, and that's a good policy to adopt. Because if we start doing that, like if we get sick and we have a cold, we wear a mask. So when we go out and stuff, we're not, even if we're coughing or whatever else, we're not transmitting those bacteria. Actually, less people would even get sick from common colds and things. Right. You know? So...
How does that work though? Like when it comes to, I mean, we probably don't have any knowledge about this, but when it comes to, for example, like, you know, they say in order to boost your immune system and have a strong immune system, you do want to be kind of exposed to, you know, bacteria and, you know, outside things, right?
Well, basically from my limited understanding of this, the way that it works is primarily like, the way that our bodies work, and this is how like vaccines work as well. So the way that our bodies work is if there's a virus or a flu or whatever it is, our bodies naturally, after it gets exposed to stuff, it builds up antibodies. Right. So then when we get attacked by the same flu, our body recognizes it and we'll be able to attack it and get rid of it right away. So that's how the vaccine works, is they inject you with like a very weak version of whatever the flu is or whatever the thing is, and your body gets used to it and knows, okay, now we know that this is a danger, so we have antibodies that can protect you. So the reason they say it's good, it's a double-edged sword, and not double-edged sword, but it's like, it's good to not be super, not clean, but like super over the top, because, you know, even growing up, I remember there was like a few kids that I knew that were like OCD with the hand sanitizer and like almost were like a little bubble child. Yes.
And they get sick all the time.
And they were always sick, but it's because your body does, like, after it gets exposed to things, it does build up immune system, right? Right. So that's one good thing. Like, it's like you start to get, you get stronger, and that's how you build your immune system. Right. Because you're exposed, the thing is, you're exposed to like, you know, maybe not so deadly viruses, right? So you're exposed to like dust and dirt and like, you know, the outside world and many different viruses, and maybe that's not viruses, many different, I don't know, bacteria. It would be viruses as well, though. There's a lot of viruses that we get that we don't even know that we get, and that our body might fight off right away, or that maybe we get a little sick, but then our body again fights it off right away. Right. So there's something, and that's why they say, like, you know, it's good. It is good to expose yourself a little bit, but obviously with this situation, it's a little different because it's more of a deadlier.
Yeah, and I think what the infectious disease doctor said was that the reason why, you know, these viruses specifically, like for example, like the COVID, the reason why it's so bad is because it comes from exotic animals that we, you know, normally would not have any
interaction with.
Right. So they hold, for example, like I think originally this came from a bat, right? Originally, we don't know how it transferred to a human. Yeah. I think it was through another animal. Yeah. That's what they think. Yeah. But it came from a bat, and bats apparently carry like so many viruses. Yeah. So they have like all kinds of viruses that are probably that we have not been exposed to ever as a human race. So we don't know what to do with it, right? So our bodies will like...
Because bats, for example, they would have been exposed to different viruses in wherever they're living, the rainforest and wherever else, where their bodies will have naturally built up immune to it, right? So they're fine. Those viruses are fine. They don't really get that sick. There's probably other viruses that might get bat sick. Right. But because they're used to this, they can be immune to it. But if we get those viruses...
then we're dead.
Then it messes us up, like in this situation we're in now.
God damn.
So it's really scary. And I mean... The thing that gets me is like the fact that this is going to be like a more of a
they said prediction. That because what he's basically predicting this based on how often the previous kind of you know pandemics have happened. Yeah, because he's working in Asia, so he's seen, you know, the MERS, so many, and the SARS. And he's apparently saying that based on his observation, they're coming more and more frequently. Yeah. And obviously now that, you know, we're living in a more global, you know, globally connected world. Yeah. It's happening. You know, it's going to happen more frequently. We're just more connected. But now maybe after this, people are going to be a little bit more weary with traveling. And, you know, maybe on planes they will ask that you know, wear a mask. I don't know.
It could be a new thing. It could be something that they start. Yeah. Well, not new. We're doing it now.
It's been half a year now since since the world has seen COVID.
I know.
Isn't that insane?
It's crazy. It is crazy. Like, basically it's changed this entire year for everyone. You know what I mean?
Everyone
Like,
starts. This is the greeting. How's COVID treating you?
that is true. These are my lines now on my dating apps. I'm like, hey, how's it going? How have you been coping with the COVID?
Oh God.
You know, like, oh
Yeah.
So I mean, this is like our new norm, I guess, right now. So we do have to kind of like get used to how this is going, how this is happening now.
But did you know that in Toronto they mandated masks in indoor areas?
Yeah,
I think.
I heard that.
So I don't know why they don't do it here.
They should.
I think I really do.
I'm just being like, I know
it's worse in Toronto.
Yeah, it is worse.
Like the cases.
I just think again, you're
Playing
from
with fire.
Exactly, and from the studies and everything that we've been kind of what the scientists understand and know is it's far more contagious and easier to get in an indoor space.
Absolutely.
Because of the recycled air and everything, right?
Yeah.
So,
I think they definitely should mandate it. Not that I want that to happen, because like, and what happens is, because here actually not many people are wearing masks. I'm sure you've noticed.
Yeah.
So when you see no one else wearing masks, you kind of are like, oh, I don't need to wear a mask. Yeah, you don't take it as seriously.
You start to think like, oh.
So now that things are opened up, even me, somebody that, I was like a lot careful before, but now I notice myself being less careful, and not wearing masks, like forgetting to wear a mask when I go to the grocery store, for example. Not that I want to do that, but if they mandate it, then I would definitely wear it.
Exactly. You'd have to.
I just don't get why, because it's like, are you just waiting for the cases to like get higher for you to do you know what I mean? It's like, that this would help. Yeah. Right?
I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know why it's not. Like, but again, I mean, maybe there's fear that people are going to think that it's against their, people were going to be pressing against their rights.
Goddamn fucking freedom shit needs to stop. See, it's not freedom to walk around spreading disease.
I know. That's I have to say, this is one thing that Spain did very well, because they were like, they didn't give a they didn't give a fuck. They were just like, mandatory masks anytime you're going into a place, and hand sanitization. So like when I was going into anywhere, I literally there would be an attendant there. You'd have to have your mask on to enter. Yeah. And someone would escort you. Yeah, would escort you with hand sanitizer as you walked in. Yeah. And then as you walked out, I think it was optional, but you could also hand sanitize. Right. So you're kind of like, not killing your
and if you wear a mask, it'll be, it's just common sense. The fact that people are even saying that masks don't work, it's like, let's use a little common sense, shall we? Yeah. Clearly, if you are sick and you're breathing
and coughing,
the fact that you have something physical covering your mouth and nose at the time of which it's just common sense. Like, why do we need like studies? Like, I know some doctors came out and like showed like graphs and stuff and like showed like droplets. The petri dish. Where he like coughed into it. Yeah. And he compared it wearing a mask and not wearing a mask. And clearly wearing a mask was like almost nothing.
Wearing a mask was like a tiny amount. Like,
why do we need to show this to prove something that is just, it should be common sense, right?
Yeah. Well, because not everyone in the world exhibits common sense, or not exhibits, but knows about common sense. Goddamn. I mean, I know sometimes I'm not the most commonsensical, I know I sometimes say things that are a bit like, but like with certain things, I'm just like, okay, this does make sense.
Oh my God, seriously. And it's like,
deep breath.
Sometimes I just feel like this world is coming to an end. Oh, goddamn, don't say that. How long do you think we have, Daniel, on this earth? Oh.
Don't say that, because I'm already paranoid about like all of this other shit that's happening with global warming and like
global warming. We haven't even touched that yet.
I know, global warming, and then I'm sure there's going to be some news articles or stories coming up about global warming, so we can definitely go into it.
That one of the most recent things I heard was that some part of the world, oh my God, where maybe it was the Siberian desert. I actually, I'm just making that up, guys. Don't. Some parts of the world is reaching the highest temperatures it's ever reached.
That's interesting. Another thing that I've heard, or I saw really recently as well, is actually, so you know how obviously like the up north, the ice caps and everything, they're like starting to melt quite rapidly. And a lot of animals such as polar bears really rely on those ice caps to catch seals.
Sad.
But what they've said is the polar bears have started adapting now. And what's happening is they're starting to move south. So and they were saying like I don't know if this is like it's not like an overall huge migration, but they're finding polar bears more further south and south, which is causing problems because polar bears are the one bear pretty much that will kill and eat a person. Because think about polar bears' environment, right? Like, it's not like a grizzly bear. A grizzly bear is in the woods. Like, we have lots of grizzly bears here. Yeah. And they have like berries and fish and all this stuff that they can eat all the time. So they have like basically a buffet. So less likely to attack a person.
Right.
Whereas polar bears are in like a barren wasteland. So any type of food,
anything moving,
exactly, is food.
Right.
So
Because they're like carnivores almost.
Yeah.
Right.
They're pretty.
Like,
there's not really fruits and
no other
berries.
choice,
Exactly.
Right. So they only eat like otters or whatever, like
seals.
Yeah.
Seals, walruses,
so
whales.
where are they moving to?
They're starting to catch.
Migrate.
They're starting. Some of them are coming down further south.
Oh God, we're doomed, guys.
The polar bears be coming.
They become for us. We got lost. We fattened ourselves out.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Over the quarantine, they do like a lot of blubber. That's
Oh,
that's why they like seals, because seals have a lot of blubber.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And like, what's gonna happen? And I found it, guys. Death Valley approaches 130 degrees. I mean, that's in Fahrenheit. I don't know what that is in Celsius.
I never know either.
Hottest temperature ever recorded on Earth. This was an article 12 hours ago.
Oh God.
Death Valley, California is known for being the hottest place on Earth. We know it's hot, but it's surprising to see how the last 4 days in Death Valley have had highs of 120, 124, 128, and 124. The low temperatures in the past 2 nights were both 100. Blah, 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 blah. The 128 degrees high for Sunday, July 12th is just 1 degree shy of the record for the highest temperatures ever recorded on Earth. The record set in Death Valley on June 30th, 2013. So June 30th, 2013 was the last holding record.
Yeah.
So
it's getting hotter and hotter in here. God damn. Well,
so basically we fucked.
On that happy note. Oh God. So
guys, expect more of this kind of very optimistic news.
Good positive outlook. No, but one thing I want to say before we sign off as well is we also, if you guys see maybe an interesting article or if you guys see like a viral video that's going on or something and you're like, oh my God, I really want you guys to talk about it.
Yes.
Definitely send it to us. Either send us a DM on the SaVeg Podcast on Instagram or even just send us an email at the SaVeg Podcast at gmail.com.
Is it SaVeg Podcast or is it the
SaVeg Podcast?
Okay.
Yeah, the SaVeg Podcast.
Look at me not knowing. Oh, well, we'll have our email in the show notes.
We'll put it in the show notes. But yeah, if there's like some really interesting stories and things like that, like we would also love to, because we love reading about this stuff and learning about it as well. And I think it could make for a really interesting, podcast, because we'll talk about we'll put in our 2 cents and
guys, listen, like if they listen to, and if we are, well aware of the news, not that we're not, but the more we, learn about the world, we might become more depressed, but we will become interesting people to talk to.
Exactly.
So if you listen to us, you might become depressed, but you'll also become more interesting.
Exactly. You'll have things. So you'll have things to talk about. There'll be current and viral events and all kinds of stuff. You're going
to become a more interesting flavor of jam. If you know what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, the jam. That jam problem.
When you go on some of those dates, you know what I'm saying?
This is true. Well, anyway, as always, thank you so much for listening. If you're watching on YouTube, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, comment, and if
you're listening on any platform, thank you for listening.
Thank you so much.
Check us out on Patreon.
Yeah.
Patreon.com/The SaVeg Podcast for extra episodes.
Yeah.
And other special content.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.